Hey everyone, I don't know about you, but when I buy these cover plate dies, I really want to make the most out of them. So I'm going to show you several techniques on how you can use something like this, which comes from the Celebrate Blossoms, my brand new release. So let's get started. I'm going to place the rectangle die and the cover plate die together. So I always create these separate so that you can cut directly into your card base, or you can create yourself a card panel if you prefer. And so I'm going to run these through with a bunch of different colors of cardstock. So when I go to create a bunch of different types and styles of cards, especially when I'm using the paper piecing technique like in today's video, I'm going to go ahead and get started by grabbing myself a really cool color palette and die cutting these. So you can see I'm using like a lilac, pink champagne, creamsicle, white, and this powder blue. And these colors all work really nice together, being very light shades. So let's pop out all the pieces. This cuts like butter. And let's get started with a couple of different techniques. So I'm going to be using the precision glue tool here from My Sweet Petunia because it just makes my life easier when it comes to gluing these. Of course, you can grab some double-sided adhesive sheets, back your cardstock with it and die cut it so that every piece has adhesive on the back. But I do find when these are quite thick, sometimes it doesn't cut as well. And so I prefer to glue these down with a piece of liquid glue. And the precision glue just helps me really get into those little nooks and crannies. And I am going to create myself a background. So this is the most simple way that you can use a cover plate die is with a very plain background like this one, gluing this cover plate die to a white card base. We're going to finish up all the cards at the end of the video with the sentiments, embellishments, and all those sorts of things. So we're going to get into the techniques first. So this is card background number one. So pretty just on its own. I absolutely adore this die set. All right, on to idea number two. So you're welcome to, of course, cut away pieces to make your die cut look different every single time. This is going to help you not get bored of your die cuts, make your cover plates look completely different than they originally were intended to look. And it's pretty easy with a cover plate die like this one, where you can cut away little flower elements. You can cut away an entire corner if you want to. It's completely up to you. So I cut away some of the elements, like the leaves from the bottom there, and then I cut away an entire flower, being careful to just quickly trim down the little nubs that are kind of left over here. Very quick and easy to do, and now this looks like a whole different die set. And of course, to spice things up even more, die cut this particular die in a neutral color like white or black. And then what you can do is add this to a colored card base to get another entirely different look. So before we had it on the white card base, now we're having it on a powder blue card base. And it just really has some beautiful designs. All right, for idea number three, we are going to start off by gluing a colored panel here, the die cut cover plate die onto the card base. And we're going to cut ourselves a second color as well that goes nicely with this pink. When I'm finished die cutting that, I'm just going to clip these in both of the corners to create a diagonal edge, and I'm going to glue this particular piece directly on top of the pink one. My apologies for being slightly off screen. We will finish the cards and you'll see them in just a second. Idea number four is to grab yourself a patterned piece of paper instead of a plain card background. You can grab yourself a nice background with patterned paper. You can also stamp yourself a background image if you prefer, and then add your die cut layer on top. This is really great for quick and easy cards that adds a little more excitement than your standard card base. All right, let's switch up the die cut here, this cover plate die, and talk about some other techniques that you can do. So this one here, I purposely designed so that you could use it as a cover plate die, but that you can additionally use all the elements inside of it for little die cuts for your cards. So if you do a white on white look, one of the things that I really enjoy doing is grabbing pieces from various colors of cardstock and then adding them in a paper piecing method. Now this particular set here is really nice to use because it's not super tedious. The pieces are nice and large and there aren't an overwhelming amount of pieces. Some of them can be quite tedious. However, I really like to do this because I always tend to make one element of my card more of a focus, something that I spend a lot of time on, and to me, I find that this one is worth it. An alternative to this technique, of course, is using colored cardstock and then filling in the elements as well in your card. However, what you can do, I am using this particular cover die as a template, and you can see I've attached it to my card using some repositionable tape up at the top. So this background is not actually glued onto my card base. So what I'm using is this cover plate here to paper piece some of the pieces in here so that I can then take the template away and I have them all lined up as if there was nothing there at all. Now, it can be your choice whether you do the entire background or whether you just do certain parts of it, like the bottom half, the top half, or just simply the middle. But you can then just push through your die cuts, and then you can have it kind of here. And if any of them pop up, you can re-glue them back on, of course. To put your own spin on as well, you can add additional elements if you prefer to bulk things up a little bit more. So that's a fun way to take your elements and do a little bit of a collage. Another way that you can use your cover plate dies is by removing them completely from the cover plate and then creating a collage with the elements. This particular technique is only going to be applicable to certain types of cover dies where you get certain elements when you cut it out, but overall I thought I'd include this in the video because it's a lot of fun. So what I do is I lay a whole bunch of pieces down. My general strategy is to avoid placing two light colors next to each other, and I just play until I'm happy, and then I take each of the elements out and glue them individually down. In the end, you'll have something like this, and it looks really cool. Another idea is to cut your cover plate. So I cut this in half. You can save this other half for an additional card. And then what I tend to generally do is just grab a strip of cardstock just so it doesn't look so unclear. So it looks just not clean right now, the look. So what I do is I place a neutral cardstock over the top. So it could be black cardstock, white cardstock, or something like holographic silver gold, and just kind of finish off the card there. And then you can fill in as many elements in the bottom half as you like, or leave it as is. So with your imagination, you can truly do amazing things with cover plate dies, and they're totally worth your money when you can get so many looks from them. So for this card here, I simply stamped a sentiment using one of the colors from the cardstock that coordinates in just above the strip on the right side. For this card here, I stamped onto a piece of white cardstock, and then I backed and framed the cardstock piece with one of the colored cardstock that I used for the die cut. For this card here, the collage, I simply heat embossed birthday wishes in some white embossing powder, so it really didn't take away from the collage and allowed the collage to shine while creating a beautiful birthday card. For this card here, again, stamped it in black onto white cardstock, and I framed it using one of the colors that I pulled together in the die cut. For this card here, I simply did the exact same thing, and here as well, but instead of using black ink, I chose the color that coordinated with the cardstock. For this one here, I added a birthday die to it. I thought that would look really cute as well. I'll probably add a happy at some point in time too. I hope you enjoyed all of these techniques. Let me know in the comments below which technique you're eager to try out with your cover plate die the next time you sit down to craft. Bye for now.